Hello fellas humans and welcome to another episode of Your Replays, and this time I got 3 again, 2 in tier 10, 1 in tier 9. Now the way to get your replays featured is actually quite simple. Join my Discord server, the link to that is in the description. Just put your replays into the clips channel and include a description of what's happening and the battle results screen, because I pick replays based off the description and the battle results screen. If there is no description, I will not look at it, because I'm lazy. If you aren't lazy, don't forget to like and subscribe. So, anyway, we're going here with Deech in the Progetto 65, and this is a somewhat solid vehicle if you know how to use it, and that's what we'll see today. Now, obviously, a game like this, where you have your heavies going to the medium side, essentially, isn't the greatest, because obviously you don't have anyone spotting that side of the hill. And one of the best things you can do, and it's not peak like that, because that way, if there's a 183 sitting back in spawn, all your hit points are going to be absolutely gone. So, I wouldn't recommend doing that, especially if you don't know where a Jaeger and a 183 are at, because that can very, very quickly cost you 1500 hit points, or even cause your death if they are both sitting in the same spot on the map and are both aiming at you. So, a bit careless there, but nonetheless, nothing happened, so that is still somewhat fine. Now, Teamer LT is completely thrown away. Basically, just YOLO towards the cap circle and into a couple of heavies, and now he's dead. So, that's cool. And obviously, the grill back there is just... He got HE'd earlier. Now, shooting at a HE at a grill might sound like a great idea, but if you're at a very long range, I wouldn't recommend it, because the grill has very funky angles, so it's quite hard to do that. So, obviously, it could have had a bit more damage there with AP at the beginning, as you already saw, but it's fine as it is. And now... the team has decided they don't want to live anymore, which I can relate to, but it is still not great for our boy here. That is getting a very nice snapshot and another very nice snapshot into the grill. Now, the way replays work, and this is not like cheats or anything like that. The way replays work is replays aren't a recording. Replays are essentially just a point map of what the game is supposed to display. Like, basically, the replay file tells the game what tank to put where and make the tank do what. Basically, that's why the replay file is also small. So that's why he's jumping around, because probably some of the instructions aren't accurate. And yeah, basically it's just an instruction map of what's supposed to be displayed on screen, rather than an actual recording of the battle, which that's why it's called a replay, because the game's playing the game again. Yeah, wargaming. But that can happen. Anyway, E100, he's not looking too good. He's just sitting up there. He's bouncing around, obviously. It's just funny. Just funny. But yeah, now, you got a 183 back there, and 183s are very easy to deal with unless they're in front of you, because you don't want to get shot for 1,300 damage, because that's not very healthy for your hit points, especially if you have 1,400. If you high rolls, you're dead. Now, going for the tracks here, obviously the perfect decision here. You want to try to track him, but now, obviously, straight behind him, nothing you can do about that. Now all you gotta do is just unload your shots. And that grill over there is also doing a pretty reasonable job at not dying to 183, which is very respectable as well. And team play, love to see that. That's nice. And now 3 versus 3. The E100 is low and now dead. The 60 TP is relatively easily killable. However, you gotta watch out, because 360 hit points is one of those where if you don't high roll, you don't get them. So that is something that is very, very difficult, and you have to watch out for that. Always try to look, what's your alpha damage, what's the enemy's hit points, can I cause more damage to him than he can cause to me? If you're thinking that, you're already doing better in a lot of situations, because otherwise you just peak in a pointless fight, and then yeah, that's what I mean with the replays. It's just all over the place. But yeah, that's just funny. And obviously 6 TP is dead. He wasn't paying attention at all, and 2 shots absolutely finished off. It would have been another medium like that, in an STB or something like that. I wouldn't have peeked that aggressively, because obviously in those 5 seconds or 6 seconds it takes to reload, he can take a shot and then I'll lose hit points. You don't want to do that, especially not against a tank destroyer like a Jagdpanzer E100, where you want to retain as many hit points as you can, because if that 6 TP would have hit and they would have slightly high rolled, the Jagdpanzer could have one-shotted him. So, good play there. However, in a different medium, I wouldn't do it the same. I mean, I probably would, because most of the time I don't really care. But if you want to play it well, then those are the things that you should definitely watch out for. And now, obviously, We know where they were, basically. Keep that in mind, you know? If you know the mobility of the vehicle, you know where it can go from where it was, basically. Like, what position it can be 20 seconds after you last saw it, for example. Stuff like that. Obviously, takes a while. Again, slightly over-peaked there. Even Hunter is not going to contest that because he's not... He's somewhat of a potato. But, yeah, he did get the grill. So, a potato does have claws. Which is weird to say, but anyway. Now, you want to watch out for that. You obviously, the more you know about what's happening in the battle, the more you can position yourself in a way to cause damage without being damaged, basically. And now here, yeah, that was a bit of wonky. Now, what the enemy... This is one of those games where you're doing it absolutely great, but I can see definite mistakes. However, they don't lead to any actual errors. Like, if you make a mistake and no one punishes it, it doesn't really matter, basically. But they were very minor. So, overall, this is a very, very strong game and very nicely shown what you can do with the auto reloader of the Progetto here. The E100, he has most likely does have a stock crew because he's just turning very, very slowly. Also doesn't have a camo on it. I mean, it's kind of pointless, but still. And now, obviously, there's absolutely nothing you can do in this essentially 3,000 or 2,000 damage here. So, that is a very, very lucky and very well-played game here. Some things could have been done better, obviously. A bit more careful in some areas. But in the end, if you don't get punished for it, it doesn't really matter. Because once you do get punished for it, you gotta stop. And there we go with Miserentno, which basically means grumpy grandpa or something like that. Just sounds funny. But this is an M6 and this is also an autoloader. Autoloaders are technically most of the time harder to play than non-autoloaders. So this is, again, a very nice show of what you can do. Obviously, I just skipped the boring driving part. And now here we are. M6 is a very strong vehicle. And it's definitely still worth getting now. Obviously, 9.1 is going to castrate it a bit. So it remains to be seen how that happens. But overall, for now, it is still a very, very strong vehicle. Now, he's using the 3-shot gun here, which I do think is the more competitive gun. Now, obviously, the 2-shot has, like, what is it, 600, 700 DPM less. So, it does unload faster, yes. However, this one just has a lot more DPM, and essentially it's just a Batchat gun, basically. It's very similar to the Batchat's gun. That or heavy, it's not the greatest of things to have, because obviously, with the 3 shots, you have to peek for longer, and you have to take 3 shots instead of 2, but you also have the security of when one bounces, that you got another one. So overall, it's kind of a trade-off that you essentially favors the one with better DPM here. If they'd have similar DPM, I probably would use the 2-shot because obviously it does unload quite a lot faster. Because the longer you peek, the more often you have to peek, the more often you can get shot. And that's obviously not great. And WoTB doesn't know that when you peek you can get shot, and that's why he's like, no, I don't need my hit points. You can have them. That's his point there. And obviously the goal here. Exactly, perfect. Trying to focus the ammo. Take out the guns. Again, you're at a disadvantage here. 4 versus 5. You want to take out guns faster and more effectively because, obviously, a dead tank can't shoot back. Which is obvious, I think. And so the more guns you take out in a position like this, the better you will fare and the more likely your chance of winning is. Now here, again, T95 is camping in the back. In hindsight, maybe could have tried to peek around the other side again, try to maybe get rid of the T84, but then again, T95 is stock, so at that point, it doesn't really matter. And, yeah, I'm just weirded out by the, you know, speed thing being at the bottom. Just weird to me, but I don't know, I just use it differently, that's not a problem. But, multi-kit, repair kit, love seeing that, you know, that's how it's supposed to be. Multi-kit and repair kit, and then a third one, whichever one you like. I wouldn't use 2 special ones, especially if you like to play aggressive. Obviously, if you're a corner camper, then you can use 2 special consumables because you won't lose modules that much. But I would definitely always recommend using a multi-kit and a repair kit just to be on that safe side, because obviously having higher baseline performance by not losing loaders and modules and whatever as often is, I think, more important than getting those 2 millimeters more accuracy that you get from reticle calibration or whatever. So, at this point, obviously, the T95 is just sitting there. And this is a very nice display of how to just farm off an enemy team, essentially. There isn't much actual, you know, hardship involved here, but it is still very solid and just shows you how to get high damage, you know, how to find targets, and that is very, very nice to see. Now we get to a K91 with a legendary camo, so congratulations on wasting all your money. And now, HE at a grill, at a distance. It's not the greatest of shots, but it is working out here. The grill's not using his HE damage reduction thing. So, yeah. Now, one problem that this replay is going to show you is that you don't have the map control here. You're in a very bad spot. We don't want to have that. So, Dennis, you got a team that isn't the greatest, but it'll still work out, and this is how you throw, essentially. So, I want to show you here. Basically, the point of this replay is, on this map, you need the middle ridge. The middle ridge is very important. As you can see, that T-54 is just raining down damage from the top there. He's now unloaded. That's never going to pin. That is now... And then the enemies are going to beautifully display how to throw such a match. Could have been aimed a bit better, you know, maybe, yeah, no, get more damage. And again, watch out for 6 TPs, because it's a bit more awareness. I can see a bit of lacking awareness here, but yeah, that's fine the way it is. Now, you do have a E75. If you look at the mini-map, you have a very, very skilled E75 player that is camping behind the spawn, so that's lovely. And now, what the enemy has essentially done here is they've kind of thrown away a couple of their vehicles, like that grill. What is that? Just aim, then shoot. Not shoot, then aim. Just aim first. But yeah, the enemies are doing very well at throwing away here. The E75 is now woken up, just hanging. Well, that's a troll right there. That is very, very sad, but, you know, so ruining your team's game for shits and giggles is not cool. And now the Kennedy one, he's just sitting there. You can't pin that with the regular AP, so you gotta switch to heat. You don't really have a lot of heat left here, so whew, that's gonna be difficult, I think, probably, to finish that off. But what the enemy's doing here is they're just peeking into him. They're just giving him free damage. Now they have the good position. They essentially don't have to do anything really. But what they're doing is they're continuing to peek and peek and peek and peek without actually causing any damage. Now, map control is very important. However, for map control, you also have to be able to convert said map control, because if you control the map and then you don't convert on that control, you get nothing. Or the E75, who just sat at the back of the map. What a fucking moron. What a fucking moron. That's all I gotta say to people like that. Like, just camps at the back of the map, then YOLOs and dies, and then complains. Get the fuck out. And now, a very nice game here. Essentially, I've seen a lot of tiny mistakes, right? Of like not paying full attention, not aiming properly. So you could have aimed a lot of shots a lot better. Because remember, aiming for 2 seconds is faster than reloading for 10. So yeah, aim your shots, definitely. But yep, 3k damage, which is, again, very respectable here, given that the game started off 6 versus 7, essentially. Now the Jaeger is just going to push that T-54, which he was in a strong position before. Now he's not. Now he's completely boxed in, and now he is dead, which is lovely. Now that Kennedy won is still in a somewhat hold-down position there. Wouldn't really peek it like that. He's got 1 heat round left, and it does actually pen. So that's a nice shot right there. So yeah, what we've seen, again, don't over-peak, don't be that E75, and thank you very much for watching. See you for the next one. Goodbye.